based on the need for economic integration. And I think that these things actually help. They probably do help promote harmony. And I think that's important. But the question is why this has to be a trade agreement. Why can't it be in some other form that does it more explicitly? So I've never really quite understood why we need to use a trade agreement rather than having some sort of other bilateral whose aim is to enhance harmony. Perhaps if it's a richer country and a poorer country, well, then there could be some way of having some sort of development assistance. But why does this have to be on the trade side? That's always been unclear to me.
Okay, we have worked. Let's try the gentleman in the front row on the left. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robert Holtzman, now from and as you could see from my white hair, had prior incarnations, World Bank, IMF, OECD, as well as European institutions. One aspect I was missing is there's some kind, you're a member of a trade agreement, or you had the alternative of international globalization. What happens with no members of forceful trade agreements? How is their position then? Think about Myanmar in the Asian trade agreement. For them, it's useful to be inside, because outside they would not be heard. But what happens with non-members of forceful trade agreements in Africa? Then, how to say, the alternative of a successful Doha matters much more than being a member of a trade agreement and not being heard. For China, it doesn't matter whether they're in the trade agreement or not, they're always heard. Small countries in a non-effective trade agreements are not heard. What happens to them is a way of conflict and how to see it. Thank you. Questions to all of you.
Who would like to handle that one? Mike?
By forceful trade agreements, you mean like dominated by one party within the agreement, US or China led, something like that?
Think about a country in Africa producing agricultural commodities, and think how they are handled by the European Union. Can they really live up to their potential? No.
I see. Okay.
Because subsidies, how to say, are controlled by the biggest. And so as a result of it, cotton, an example, how to say, where they could be one of the world leaders, cannot happen because the trade agreement, which is there, how to say, some West African trade agreement, is not forceful.